Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and welcome back to another Monday. Joining me, as always, is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all of our listeners. I think, even though it's still the 30th of September right now, that I should just start heading into my spooky riddles. So why don't I go ahead and give you your first? I protect. I stand tall. My purpose is to strike fear in all. What am I?
Batman.
Batman could be Halloweeny, but not that much so.
Okay.
I still accept it, though. However, the correct answer is a scarecrow.
Okay, so essentially Batman.
Sounds about right. So, for new listeners, I, Voyse, scour Reddit like a little goblin trying to find the best stories that are interesting, funny, and dramatic. From there, we go ahead and share our perspectives on them, and we look forward to hearing your perspectives too in the comment section.
So, Voyse,
Timstradamus.
it looks like we have some new shout-outs to make.
Yes, we have 2 new Patreons. Welcome to the club, Halo Davis and Sarah.
Welcome in. Love and appreciate you guys.
And they came in right during spooky season. I am so excited. I know you've been absolutely curious about the tea that I've made for you today.
I saw you steeping it, and it looks very different.
It is. It's actually something that was from our last spooky season, and I decided to bring it forward. It's my eerie chocolate mint infusion tea, where it has rooibos, peppermint leaves, cocoa nibs, and a splash of cream.
Oh yeah, that is fantastic.
Where it's a little warming but cooling all at the same time.
All in a cup.
Excellent. Well, while you go ahead and enjoy your morning cup of brew, why don't we go ahead and delve into these stories? For any listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. For our first story! Friend was not allowed to board the flight. The rest of us still went on the vacation. Now she wants us to pay her back. Am I the a-hole if I don't pay her? Throw away and change some details. I don't think anyone involved is on Reddit, but I'm paranoid, lol. Me and 3 friends planned a vacation to Hawaii. We booked the flight, hotel, and car together for a discount, and then split the costs 4 ways. We each paid roughly $800. We also booked a couple things to do there totaling around $250. The day of the flight, we all arrive at the airport and start going through TSA. One of my friends, I call her Sarah, got stopped because she had a weed pen in her bag. She says she just forgot it was in there and didn't intentionally bring it. But it doesn't really matter either way. TSA ended up calling Airport Police Department, and Sarah was not allowed to board the flight. Weed is not legal in our state. She wasn't arrested, but she was given a ticket and court date and not allowed through security. Obviously, the rest of us still got on the plane because we're looking forward to our vacation. Now we're back, and Sarah's mad at all of us for going and wants us to pay her back for her portion of things since she couldn't go. But I don't think we should have to. It's not our fault she wasn't allowed to fly, and I didn't budget for paying her half as well. She's also mad because the airport is 1 hour from our home city, and we didn't give her the keys to the car, so she had to pay for an Uber home. We didn't say she couldn't have the keys. It's just that no one thought to give her the keys to Matt's car when it was all going down. One of my friends says we should just pay her to keep the peace, but I don't think we should have to. Matt also thinks we shouldn't have to pay her. If we split her costs, it would be about $350 each. I could technically afford it, but I'm working on paying off my credit card, and that's about the same amount I put towards the credit card each month. So it would put me a month behind on my plan to pay off my last credit card. I was a little irresponsible in my early 20s. Am I the a-hole if I refuse to pay her back? And even if I'm not the a-hole, should I just do it anyway to keep the peace?
A lot of us were irresponsible with our money in our early 20s, so...
That is where you start learning. Hopefully you don't get out of control.
Relatable! What you learn. So I guess we'll start with this. They're in a state where weed is illegal, and I would think the one that had the possession of it probably knows that as well. I doubt that she intended to pack the weed pen. Maybe it was just one of those habit things to make sure it was with you, or, I don't know how much she uses, but intentions, especially in this regard, don't really matter. It happened. So in my mind, this is a pretty cut and clear situation. Your friend decided to not double check her bags, and Those are the consequences of it. The OP is only asking if they're the a-hole for not wanting to reimburse the friend.
Correct.
No, that's not your responsibility to make sure that your friend, your adult friend, because we're all adults here, I assume, no one should have to handhold you through life like that, especially your friends. And the fact that she would feel entitled to a reimbursement from her friends is interesting. They got to go on the trip because they didn't have something illegal on them, and you're punishing them for that? ROP said that they're just willing to cave in just to keep the peace here. You're setting a pretty bad foundation for the relationship going forward if you do those type of things. You trying to guilt them for having fun and going on the trip that they planned together, that would make you a bad friend. You're better off just letting this friend go. I wouldn't be around someone who wanted to make me feel bad about something I enjoyed. That's toxic behavior. In my opinion, you're not the a-hole, OP.
The consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. For many Redditors, the responsibility really falls to the friend. She could have rebooked her ticket or gotten a credit from the airlines. Others say that it's also on each person to pack their bags and make sure that nothing is illegal. And TSA will ask, did you pack your bag? Just to confirm that that is an item in their possession that is their responsibility. Regardless, I think, at least in this situation, one, we're all adults. If you do something that is essentially illegal, that's your fault. A lot of the times when I hear of individuals saying that they split costs with friends to try and make something affordable, it's because they can't afford just a trip on their own. And I'm not sure why it is that OP's friend would feel as if everybody should be entitled to their weight on something that's essentially not their fault. Now, does it suck? Yes, definitely. But you could get some form of compensation back. Like I said, a lot of Redditors put out there many airlines will allow you to rebook a ticket, especially when you miss a flight. All that you'd have to do is book it for a later time. So our OP's friend might not have been able to get through security then, but it doesn't mean that she couldn't have come a few hours later and taken a later flight. It just sounded as if they were upset and embarrassed that they had this whole thing happen. Maybe they were expecting all their friends to put down arms and essentially, I don't know, boycott the trip because of this whole thing happening. But essentially, they just got upset and they went home. That's not dealing with the problem. Anytime you have issues that crop up like this, you really should think, okay, what needs to be my next best steps to either get my plan on track or go ahead and make sure that I'm recouping as many costs as I can so I can do this thing later. The moment that you throw your hands up in the air and you say, you know what, fuck it, everybody else needs to cover my expenses now. That's not fair. That's not what you and your friends agreed to begin with.
Very true.
Well, let's go to our next story and see what you think about a gift you don't want. Am I the a-hole for returning my wife's homemade birthday gift to me and telling her I don't want it? I then went out and bought what I actually wanted. I need an outside opinion on this. This has been an
You're an asshole.
Wow. I need an outside opinion on this. This has been an ongoing issue that I have talked to her multiple times about. My wife makes less money than me and is the type of person who prefers to make her own gifts for people. The issue is she will do this even if the person doesn't want this. I will use myself as an example. For the past few years, she has made every single gift I have been given. No matter what I ask for, I get a homemade gift. Doesn't matter if it is cheap or not. Last Christmas, I asked for a few new things, and I got a homemade scarf. I always get her the stuff she wants. I have talked to her about this multiple times. My birthday was yesterday, and I asked her to give me a book. It was only $25, and I sent her the link. I opened the gift, and she made some homemade bookmarks. It wasn't even the type of bookmarks I like. They were made from fabric, and I like the wooden ones. I must have made a face because she asked what was wrong. I told her I didn't want these. I made it so clear what I actually wanted, and I have talked to her so many times. I handed them back and went out to buy the book. We had a big fight when I got back. She claims I am being ungrateful and a jerk. Am I the a-hole? Just to clarify, some extra info for you. OP said that his wife drops hints on the things that she wants. And he's tried to do the same. But in this instance, he's opted to ask her point blank since that was what they wanted and it still didn't work. Additionally, OP did confirm that they make about $30,000 more than their partner does, and she currently makes about $40,000 before taxes. OP says that he pays for most of the big things, such as mortgage, but that they actually have a shared account that they each have access to and has more than enough funds for a $25 book if they wanted to go ahead and gift that.
Okay. So that edit really did paint the picture a little more. I retract my earlier statement.
The one time you're like, oh,
I've been doing that a little more lately. These titles catch me. It sounds like they've had many conversations about the gift giving within the relationship. And that's kind of a big one for a lot of folks. That can be someone's love language. No differently than emotions or physical contact. There's a whole wide range of what makes us happy within a relationship. They've had several conversations about this in the past, spanning back years, I believe. And all he's been given back is the same results. So either one of two things are happening. Either your partner really just doesn't care about how you feel, or they're truly not understanding. That can happen because for some people, a homemade gift is 1,000 times better than something you buy from a store. It just depends on how you were raised, what your values are. I'm not shaming anyone for either side. You sit on that. But for him, he asked for a book this year. It was $25. And again, with that last edit, you understand that, all right, while she may not make as much as him, they have a joint account and there's enough money in there for a $25 book. It almost feels like this was not a test, but definitely one of those things where he said, look, it's $25. You can't fight me on $25. She ended up hearing that he wanted a book and then made bookmarks. That's not the same thing. While it is nice, you could have definitely paired those bookmarks with the book. That probably would have gone over a little bit better.
That would have made it extra special.
So why does it have to be one or the other? But you as the partner that's giving homemade gifts expects gifts that are bought outside?
That they hint at and then our OP gets?
It's funny to call someone selfish that makes gifts for people, but it kind of sounds like we're also dabbling in that a little bit, where if I make you things from home, then I don't have to spend the money for it. It just sounds like someone doesn't care or wants to save the money for themselves. I don't know. Maybe that's reading too much into it because I don't know these people. In my opinion, OP, you're not the a-hole.
So the consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. For some Redditors, they said that creating stuff sounds like a hobby their wife does for themselves and doesn't appear to be thinking about what that person on their special occasion may want instead. Many had instances of their spouse not listening with regards to gifts being requested. Some Redditors said exactly as you said, Timstradamus. She could have literally put the bookmarks inside of the book and given it as a gift. But it sounds like they have a lot of communication problems. It seems that our OP's picking up more on the hints, where their spouse does not seem to be picking up on the hints. They had to put point blank what they wanted just to try and get the thing that they really wanted as a gift, and they still weren't being heard. And you're very right. It makes the partner from OP sound extremely selfish. I will say, at least on this part, I love homemade gifts. I love the thought of giving gifts that are homemade. I wish I just had more time on my hands to be able to do that and pick up those hobbies. But when it comes to being listened to, especially when it comes to that love language, I can understand it. I know for a while there, I had been hinting at you for years for flowers. I recall coming home from work and being like, this coworker of mine got flowers. Nudge, nudge. I had to learn that form of communication of hinting didn't work out for you and I. It was more helpful, at least in our growth, that I tell you what it is that I would really like. And then the moment that you started understanding those types of aspects of me, I feel like our relationship decided to grow and blossom in different ways. Not everybody can take a hint. But at the same time, if you're talking to your partner and you're telling them what you want and they're still ignoring you, those for me are big red flags. And I'm really lucky that I have you, Timstradamus, to actually listen to me when I do tell you the things that I absolutely find special.
I was very dense at the beginning, but we've learned, and I've learned how to pick up on hints and things like that. I didn't grow up with any of that type of interaction with people, so it did take a little bit, and it does take work, especially if you're not used to that type of communication style. And I hope that's what they're dealing with. I don't know how old they are, how long they've been in the relationship, but it starts with being open and honest about what you guys are looking for. It's just another way you have to learn your partners.
I definitely agree to that. Well, let's go on to our next story and see what you think about another birthday party. Am I the a-hole for not attending brother's adults only birthday party with 4 kids? So my bro, 50 male, just texted me, 38 female, wanting to get off his chest how hurt he is that I did not attend his adults only 50th birthday party 2 months ago. I would have attended, but my primary babysitter, our mom, was at the party and others were unavailable that night. I didn't think it fair to leave my husband at home with our 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and twin 8-month-old babies at the hardest time of day. Edited to add, I don't doubt my husband's ability to parent our children. We adjust our schedules so not one parent is alone with all 4 kids. We try to team as best as we can. Also, I did drop off a thoughtful gift to my bro the day after, a pair of nice sneakers because I noticed previously his were outdated. Bro said I should have left for an hour to make it to his party. We've had to say no to several events this year, as the first year with twins is a lot. I'm starting to feel guilty for not going, but also need to prioritize my kids and husband. So, am I the a-hole for not making more of an effort to attend? Or is he being unreasonable? Notable mention, this is the same bro who stopped talking to me for months after I said no to his request to pick up his family from the airport 1 hour from my house for a 7 p.m. international arrival while I was 6 months pregnant with twins and 2 toddlers at home. He asked me for this enormous favor 1 day prior. Am I the a-hole?
Okay, well, with that edit, we kind of get the full picture of who ROP's brother is. A before picture.
Before.
She outlines it pretty clearly. He doesn't really care about how she feels or what their growing family is going through. He requests things of his sister during times where clearly she can't. She was very much pregnant whenever this request happened for the airport.
Correct. She was 6 months pregnant.
And had 2 kids already. And then you expect her to go pick up a family from the airport an hour away? No, man.
Essentially being told the day before, so it couldn't even be scheduled.
What wild expectations you have for your sister. I digress. Let's go back to the story at hand. OP says that they have a pretty good balance in their home as far as being able to handle all 4 kids between her and her husband. And the agreement is if one has to go, they make sure that there's a babysitter on hand so that way one parent isn't handling all 4 kids. I think that's a good way of doing it to make sure that no one gets overwhelmed, because having a lot of kids can do that very quickly. But the good thing is for them, again, they have that agreement. They're not going to leave one stranded on Baby Island.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, I think that's good co-parenting, which leads us to why it is she couldn't attend the birthday party. Now, I understand birthday parties mean different things to everyone. You know, milestones. This would be a 50th. So you can kind of feel where that might have hurt the brother. Having open communication is important. We're allowed to come and tell our loved ones, friends, family about how we feel about certain situations. I don't mind that part for his side. It's important. Communication is important. But given our understanding about how selfish ROP's brother is, you can definitely get where he suffers from maybe a little more main character syndrome than you'd like. He looks and he knows her situation, but requests, and not only requesting for the airport incident, but he expects her to show up at a birthday party that's for only adults when he knows the situation at home. Again, it's okay to have the communication, but I just don't agree with how he's gone about it. So in my opinion, OP, you are not the a-hole.
So the consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. In fact, there were some Redditors that said, well, I mean, when you have the grandmother come in and watch all the grandkids, wouldn't that still be putting her in a predicament of leaving one adult with all 4 kids. But our OP actually clarified in the comments that they never leave all 4 kids with just one adult.
Yeah.
Anytime the grandmother actually has ever watched the kids, it's generally been with the twins, the youngest ones. And one of the parents would take the 2 older kids with them or take them to, let's say, a child care center or whatever activities that they had, probably concerning more preschool than anything else. And once it came to light how the structure of their family, how they work, and they make sure that across the board, no matter what, there is never just one adult watching all 4 kids at one time, sort of stamped in the consensus of not the a-hole. Aside from that, this is one of those moments where I begin to question the relationship that other individuals have with their family and the boundaries that they put down. If you have a sibling who, when you didn't do what they wanted and they got so upset with you that they stopped talking to you for months, that signifies a really big problem when it comes to almost privilege and entitlement on their part. If someone's not able to do something at the drop of a hat for you and you're upset about that, it has me wondering what kind of character you are.
They're only happy with you if you say yes. And it's a really good indicator of how someone holds your guys' relationship. Say no and see how they react. Because if they truly do respect you, they'll understand regardless of the answer they get.
Well, let's go on to our last story and let's see if I can make a smile with a little prank. Today, my kiddo and I pulled off a prank 5 years in the making against my wife. 5 years ago, on her 13th birthday, we were chatting about what she wanted to do on her major milestone birthday. We decided that on her 18th, we would play a prank on her mother. That was tonight. We went out with family and friends, and after the main meal, I announced that I wanted to buy my newly adult child their first alcoholic drink. Cool, she said. I'll have a whiskey. Cue the looks of disbelief from everyone at the table. My wife said, that's hardcore. And my mother tried desperately to convince her grandchild of a better option. Kiddo remained steadfast, and I put on my best, this will be a good lesson to learn face, and asked if anyone else wanted a shot. No one did, but everyone got out their phones to record the event. I'd informed the server of our plans ahead of time, and she brought over 2 shot glasses, one with Angel's Envy that she put in front of me, and one with apple juice that was placed in front of Miss 18. We both downed our shots and looked around at everyone to see their reaction. My parents, sitting opposite, were preparing to leap out of the way of a spray. My wife's expression went from worry to confusion to suspicion quite quickly. Neither of us pranksters could keep our laughter in for long, and we quickly spilled the beans, but the facial expressions of everyone at the table were brilliant. My mother in particular had a wonderfully expressive reaction. All in all, it was a pretty trivial prank, but the best bit was that all through her troubled teenage years, we've always been able to bring a smile to each other's face by reminding each other of the conspiracy. It's something that was shared between just the 2 of us, something so simple, yet so wonderfully binding.
That sounds like a nice inside joke that he has with his daughter.
I think it was great. If anything, we had so many birthday incidences when it came to this episode. I decided I want us to leave with a more up-feeling feeling regarding birthdays.
That's a good one, though. You can imagine the entire family. I'm assuming this is not in America because legal drinking age is 21. And these are, as soon as you said 18, I'm like, interesting. I know a lot of other places in the world, though, 18 is legal. So
yes. I also believe that it's probably not in the U.S.
It's funny. They're all lining up and going, we'll have a shot of whiskey. And yeah, at 18, that's a hard one to start on. But, some people can handle it. I'm assuming the reason why the mom got suspicious was because the daughter probably chugged down the apple juice and never having alcohol before this, handled it without even a slight cough. I think everyone remembers the first time they've had something hard. It's
intense.
Yeah.
So I remember having my intense moment, and I believe I probably brought this up in the distant past, but I thought my father had 7-Up in his glass, and I told him, "Thank you, Daddy," and grabbed the glass and took a swig. The fact that he allowed me to learn my lesson to never take someone else's drink and take an actual sip of it, that was vodka. And I have since never grabbed anybody else's glass because I never want to take that chance of the mystery drink that it might be.
I tried moonshine at like 15. So and Georgia moonshine is different.
Oh my goodness. The things we learn. I imagine being this mother. My suspicion would go between one of two things. One, I'm being pranked really hard here and you guys got me. Or two, have you tried whiskey somewhere else before?
That would be the follow-up question. You handling it so smoothly. Well, was that our last story?
That was our last story.
Good wholesome one to end off on.
I know. A little bit of Feel Good Friday coming in here. But as I said, I had so many birthday ones in this one that I just wanted to end on a nice birthday one instead.
Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. Our Mondays and Wednesdays are filled with Am I the A-hole with, of course, a positive end. And then our Fridays, we have our Feel Good Friday episodes, which hopefully will start your weekend off right. Additionally, because of course, we're always coming back for more, we have our Damas After Dark. However, for the month of October, we're actually sharing paranormal stories.
Ooh.
That's so funny.
Yep. Lame.
Talking about our Damas and our Patreon, I would love to thank all of our Patreons for all of the support that you've given us.
Yes, we love and appreciate every single one of y'all. And as always, listeners, we look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments below. What did you think about the stories today?
I think the one that really had me, I guess, back and forth on was honestly the birthday gift. Only because I love homemade things, but not everyone is like that. And once someone communicates with you the kind of gift that they would like, and you sort of look over what they want and give them what you want to give them, it makes it a very selfish moment.
Yes, there is such thing as selfish gift giving. It's not
I've never
what
heard that word before.
they want, it's what you want to give them. And I'm certain some of us have gotten caught in that at some point in your life where you're like, I can pick the perfect gift for you. But when someone's coming to you and being open and direct, and you're willing to push past that, then that's a problem with you. And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.
You want to go on an adventure?
Always?
Let's go to that new dinosaur trail that they opened up.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Wasn't that like, we've been meaning to go to that. It's been over for almost a year or something like that.
The weather's perfect.
Allons-y.